to start. What we do tonight is dependent on who was online. I cannot really channel a high energy, just me sitting alone in the room without people who can really hold the energy out there. So any combination, some more people coming up, good. Any combination of me talking, Aaron coming through, it's doubtful that love will come through as we had planned because he has such a high energy and it needs something to be able to support that. So we can't control the weather. This is an experiment. We've never done this before. We've always had live people in the room, anywhere from 6 to 20 live people in the room, and some of you online. And okay, good. People piling in, great. Opening the doors. Hi, Pat, your fire looks beautiful. Can I come and sit by it? I don't know if you know, we've got about 8 inches of snow here and it's blowing and coming down. Okay, this is an experiment being, I don't want to say forced upon us, but clearly we were invited to try it. We've always had somebody sitting in the room with a video camera and usually at least 8 or 10 people, sometimes more. I need energy around me in the room to support the channel. So those of you who are experienced with this, most of you, I'm going to ask you to help hold the energy from a distance. So I will invite your help. Seeing as we now have a dozen people, I'm going to just slip into channeling. I need to press record. I'm going to slip into channeling and let Aaron talk. I'm pulling this up for energy. Beautiful crystal to help hold the energy here on my desk. My blessings and love to you all. I am Aaron. So we enter into a new joyful experiment. Looking to see what other new ways we can share thoughts out into the world. The internet, some years ago, opened a big door. Suddenly, instead of it being accessible only to people who were live in the room, we could share it to people far away. We've spent a few years learning how to do that, using camera and a lot of equipment. There are no boundaries anywhere. I think it's wonderful that I see some of you in different countries, different places, all sitting there in your living rooms. One living room, really, the living room of the heart, all sharing together. My heart to your heart, and distance, in literal terms, is irrelevant. Last night in class, A pause for a moment. The snow looks so beautiful coming down. The backlight over the deck is lit, and there are 1,000, 1,000,000 snowflakes blowing, coming down. Very beautiful. And I'm glad you are all safe in your homes and not trying to take to the streets. Last night I spoke about some of the challenges you find in the world. In your personal situations, your bodies, your emotions, political challenges. Excuse me. The environment. Now, some of you feeling challenged by this new coronavirus. There are always going to be challenges. So Barbara and I spoke yesterday. She does not have a lot of money to spare. But what she had was simply literally sitting in her safe deposit box, earning 0 interest. A friend who was a financial advisor and analyst said, why don't you invest it in some investments? I don't know what they are. $5,000, not a lot she was going to invest, $5,000, but it represents a lot of money to her. So she and her husband had never bought stocks. They thought about it, she thought about it, and she said, okay. He came over, they talked, he gave her some options of things he thought were good investments. She gave him $5,000, and that was several weeks ago. And then there's a lot more agitation politically. There is the coronavirus and the statement. The question is not if it will spread, but when and how severe. Stocks were dropping. On her computer, she saw the bottom was falling out of the stock market, and she thought, oh, what have I done? She thought I should call him right away. Tell him to sell it, whatever loss there is. If I lose 1,000 of my 5,000, so be it. At least I'll have the 4,000 left. I said, do you really want to move ahead based on fear? I pointed out to her that she and each of you are co-creating the future, always. When you see a situation that is uncomfortable, you may not be able to change that situation in that moment, but you can change the way you are responding or reacting to it. So here was Barbara with a fear-based reaction. Perhaps the most important insight I gave her was the fact that when she sees the stock market plummeting and thinks, my $5,000, what will happen? Her contracted energy and her fear create more of a twist toward negativity. If she is able to say, I see this is happening, who knows where it will go? I made a decision with much forethought and aware of the politics and the world. I made a decision. Now I choose to honor that decision by literally envisioning this virus gradually, but not for too long a time, this virus fading away. Of the most loving and clear candidate being nominated and then winning the election. of those who win the election, bringing forth real healing with new rules for the environment worldwide. The possibility of the earth shifting into a much more positive space. Many of you will think, well, none of us can really change anything. But you can. Because the energy that you bring forth changes everything. Fear or love, it changes everything. One can look out at a storm and say, oh no, what will happen? Or one can look out at the storm and say, it's so beautiful. A fear-based response or a love-centered response. So many of you worry about lack of control. I asked the class last night, is there anybody here who truly believes you are in control? And yet I pointed out, at one level, you are in control. When you deeply trust that part of yourself that is wise, loving, and committed to the highest good for all beings, committed to doing no harm for any being. When you trust that awakened heart in yourself, the outflow of this heart is what has control. The ego has no control, but the awakened heart does have control. It's a very beautiful thing to know how clearly the awakened heart can function in the world. There's a beautiful sutra. The beginning words are, cultivate the wholesome, abandon the unwholesome. I'm not quoting the sutra exactly. Let me give you a bit more of it then. Abandon the unwholesome. You can abandon the unwholesome. If it brought suffering, I would not ask you to do it. And skipping a bit, cultivate the wholesome. You can cultivate the wholesome. If it brought suffering, I would not ask you to do it. What does it mean to abandon the unwholesome, to cultivate the wholesome? We do not abandon the unwholesome by yelling at it and saying, I hate you, go away. We abandon the unwholesome by returning to the wholesome, by finding that which is inherently beautiful in the heart, in the awareness. We cultivate the wholesome by saying, I choose this. I choose love. I choose to offer my energy with love in the world. I choose to envision that which is for the highest good and to trust my capacity to hold that intention. There is another teaching I would share just a bit of. It's part of mindfulness. The practice of clear comprehension. It has several parts. The first, clear comprehension of purpose. What is my highest purpose? I don't mean the absolute ultimate highest purpose, but what are among the higher purposes? Is it the enactment of the ego to keep myself safe and give myself personal power? Or is it truly to support all sentient beings and help the world shift into a place of love? Literally help the universe shift into a place of love. Clear comprehension of suitability is what I am about to do suitable to my highest purpose. Going back to Barbara yesterday, because this is where I asked her to start. Worrying about money that she might lose. Also worrying about not her own health, but the health of the world with this virus. Not just herself, but the health of the entire earth with the terrible environmental conditions. What is my purpose? Literally, for her, her answer was to awaken and support awakening in others, that we may live our lives from this state, from the perspective of one who was awake, one who was wise and loving, compassionate, and intended to do no harm. Then I asked her, is panicking that you might lose this money, which, well, it's a lot of money to her. She did not invest more than what she felt she could lose because she understood that she could lose it all. It was an experiment for her to hand it to an investment person and say, okay, here is my money. I'll trust this. I'll give it. Only what I could lose, and the rest remains in the bank. So try it. Clear comprehension of suitability. Is my panic suitable to my highest purpose? Of course not. When I can respond, holding my highest intentions for the good of all sentient beings and harm to none, for service to all beings, to live in love, when I can act fully harmonious with that purpose, then I can trust that I am truly serving as I came to serve in this world, even if on the surface it doesn't look so good. You are not here to collect money or even to conquer illness in the world. You are here to teach love. You are here to carry the high vibration of love and offer that as a direct response to fear and negativity. There will always be fear and negativity. To hate negativity is just more hatred. Yet we do not say, oh, I love negativity, bring me more of it. We say no, a compassionate no to negativity that does not judge the one carrying the negativity, does not hate, but holds the heart open, willing to experience that tension, that contraction, and say, I do not embrace this. I do not bring it into it. No, I do not choose to live my life bound by fear. When enough of you are able to do this, it does change everything. And this, as I see it, is the present path many of you are on. Learning how to say that compassionate no to negativity. not to be afraid of negativity in your external world, and to not get caught up in its stories. Clear comprehension of purpose, clear comprehension of suitability. The further step is clear comprehension of the domain of meditation, which is a lot of fancy words that basically means when you see fear arising, note it, take it into meditation. That which is aware of fear is not afraid. There is no need to get caught up in fear and its stories. Nor do you need to pull the screen down on them and say, get out of here, I hate you. That's just more hatred, as I said. The power that you have, the enormous power, lies in resting in the one who was awake within you and living from that awakened core of your being. That which is aware of fear is not afraid. That which is aware of anger is not angry. That which is aware of confusion is not confused. Resting in this space of clarity and love, we say no. Herein is your power. The ability to say no comes from keeping the heart, the chakras, awareness all open, seeing what is arising and passing away without getting caught in the stories. Then you are not giving your power to the small self, the relative self, but holding the power available to the one who was awake. Ajahn Chah, a very wonderful teacher in Thailand, who is no longer living, he used to talk a lot with the Thai phrase, Pruru, the one who was awake. Where is this one who was awake in you right now? Can you find it? Now I'm going to invite you to reflect on something that seems negative to you. The candidate whom you oppose winning the election and becoming president for 4 years. Or perhaps the virus spread throughout the world, many people sick. Or the further deterioration of the environment. Species literally dying out. Think of one of these I can't call them impersonal scenarios. They all affect you, of course. But they're about something more universal. Or think of something about yourself. That little spot you had on your face, it turns out it's cancer. Oh no! Or whatever the fear may be. I'd like you all to take a few minutes to watch this as a thought. Here is something that is very unpleasant for me. Something I do not feel I can control. Watch how the ego comes up and wants to push it away. I need to control this. I don't want this. Can you feel the tension? the arising of negativity, creating something alien with this particular object. Certainly it's unpleasant. We don't want that resident or that virus. Now I would invite you to come back to the one who was awake. Where is it in you? Say with me these few words. I am a love. I am a love. I am a love. You don't sound very convincing. Try it like you really trust it. I am love. I am love. And I reach my hand out to hold the hand of love. I am one expression of love. Love simply is. Love is greater than anything else. You live in a non-dual universe. Within this realm of non-duality, there could not be positivity and negativity as two separate things. My experience is that in the beginning there was love. Give me a minute here. I think we're going to go on with our original plan for tonight. Barbara seems to be holding my energy. Okay. I'm going to ask those of you especially who understand how to do this to offer increasing energy through your screen to the picture of Barbara's body and me incorporated. And I am going to bring you love. It's a very high energy. If I feel that Barbara's body, if love and I feel that Barbara's body cannot stably hold it without others in the room to help support the energy, we will cease it very quickly. Well, let's try it. So right now you're listening to me, Aaron, with the one who calls itself love is going to incorporate and lead you through this next phase of meditation. My love to you all. I am love. I greet you with much joy. I am love. What does it mean to say I am love? I am no different than any of you. You are also love. We are love. Together. Now let's go back and talk a little about some history. In the beginning, there was only vast emptiness. A radiant awareness opened itself into the emptiness. As your Judeo-Christian Bible says, it saw that it was good. emptiness, finding something, radiant. And for an nameable amount of time, it simply lived holding this light of love out into the universe. It began to reflect that it wished to offer many expressions of itself. But for an expression to be offered out, it had to have free will. And so there were all the innumerable expressions that burst forth and created the seeming dualities of good and bad, light and darkness, generosity and greed, patience and impatience, self versus moving beyond the separate self. And through this exploration, love was able to expand itself further in its knowledge, beginning to see the possibility of that which would be labeled as evil, or wrongness, or distortion, of darkness, of fear. At first, some of that which expressed took that which it expressed, that negativity, as something solid. But gradually it came to know with a certainty. These are all expressions of love. There is only love here. There is nothing else. Opening its heart into that which is known as love in its myriad expressions. It invited the free will of each expression to explore and see what it meant to be an expression of love and to enter into distortion, and then a free will choice to return from that distortion and say, no, I do not choose the negative distortion. I do not choose the long-held contraction. I do not choose that which would do harm. To begin to know, I am love. We are all love. How to invite that knowing of being love to become the predominant, the core energy. Even when negativity arose, even when fear arose. This became the work of beings, sentient beings, through eons of time. With the creation of this earth in this way, it was taken a step further. The loving guardian angels of earth offered their energy to co-create a plane on which positive polarity could thrive. But also keeping in mind there is always free will choice. This earth was given the power. Let me rephrase that. Aaron is sometimes correcting my grammar here, as my English is less than perfect. I am awed by the snow coming down. Aaron just said to me, and no two flakes are alike. Truly awe-inspiring. So in other places in the universe, there was not this solid core of light and positive polarity to anchor love. But on Earth, there is. That does not mean there is no negativity, only that there is something solid to hold on to bring you back home, to that which chooses the wholesome, that which knows itself to be love. Just as one candle can light a vast cavern, the earth is meant to function as that candle, to light the way for positive polarity throughout the universe. Not the only plane in which this has happened, but one of a cherished few. And you came along as volunteers and said, yes, I choose to serve this exploration. I choose to learn how to live with love, to know that I am love, to release fear, abandon the unwholesome, cultivate the wholesome. I choose to do this work, and I ask for help. And all your loving guardian angels, your loving gods, came forth and said, yes, you incarnate on the earth and we'll be here. We'll help you. So that each of you has so much loving guidance to support you. You're never alone. Now Earth is reaching a point of more transition, the possibility of transitioning into a different density, moving from third into fourth or even fifth density, a higher vibration. Will it be higher density negative polarity or higher density positive polarity? Which way do you want it to be? What do you choose? Herein is your power. The power of free will choice to know the experience of love. Can you feel my energy? Saying, I love you. I love you. Can you feel that energy? I love you. I am always with you. Your free will choice to trust that and know I have the ability to co-create a highly positively polarized fourth or fifth density plane. I can do that. I and all my fellow workers of light, we can do that together. Or we can give up and say, oh no, it's all going to. I asked Darren for a freeze. He said, hell in a handbasket. I'm not sure I get to that. Want to explain that, Aaron? He's giving me an image. He said it's just an old colloquial phrase. It means everything is falling apart. You have the choice to say, oh no, this is what's happened. This guy, he may be elected, and everyone I know and love could die of a virus, and all the trees and vegetation of the earth can die away. Such horrible things can happen. What will we do? Contracting your energy. If you contract your energy like that, can you still feel my love? Right. Shift it briefly into a place of fear and see if you can feel my energy. You probably cannot feel it as strong. Am I right? Now, pause and say thank you to whatever catalyst was inspiring fear. Thank you, teacher. I choose love. I am love. Saying it to yourself. And then feeling my energy again. And my love holding you, embracing you. Together we are love. What are you going to co-create? This is your choice. I'm not suggesting it's easy, but as Aaron keeps reminding you, it is what you came for. The suggestion was that I would come in tonight to just give you this stronger connection with love. To invite you to remember, together we are love. You have always been a part of me, and you can never be separate from me. In class last week, we used the image of the toy called a yo-yo. It fits into the hand with a string around the finger. It's right there in the palm. A beautiful crystal, an earth crystal. Imagine it attached to my hand on a string, an infinite string. And I say, are you ready? Yes. And I open my hand. And it flies out over the horizon. It moves through realms of light and it moves through realms of darkness. It flies out. Until it starts to reach what it thinks is a realm of such darkness that it cannot go any further. And then it says, love, please bring me back. And with my hand, I bring it back right to my heart. You are each 1,000 billion yo-yos held in the palm of my hand, each of you moving out as far as you choose, experiencing light and darkness. And when you request it, saying, bring me back, and coming back to the heart of love again. There's a string there. A strong cord. It can never break. You are never alone. Through you, we get to know the experience of darkness. Because love can never speak with clarity to darkness and help it to shift its polarity unless it understands it. When you understand the darkness, then you can address it. Then you can speak with clarity. I invite you back into the heart of love. You are the yo-yo and you are also the hand. And when there is darkness and contraction and fear around you, you say, I invite you back. Always with compassion, never with a judgment. We're not judging darkness. We simply know that darkness is only a distortion of light. Negativity is only a distortion of love. In the end, there is only love. With me, please say, I am love. I am love. I am love. Now, going into whichever place it brings up the most contraction, whatever issue, in your personal life or in the outer world, go into that place. Walking into the darkness, watching to what degree your energy stays open and where it becomes contracted. I am love. I am love. Approach that place, whatever it is. The place that you'll be snowed in with 3 feet of snow tomorrow morning. Oh, I won't be able to get out of my driveway, dear. Oh, but somebody will come along with a snowplow and plow me out. Those of you who were not here at the start, just as we're starting, there were headlights in Barbara's front door behind her. It was a friend with a snowplow come to plow her driveway. There's always going to be a snowplow. There's always going to be love and healing. It is up to you what world you choose to co-create. Whether to move further into, let's say, stretching the cord so far that you can no longer feel the presence of love and you panic. And begin to believe that for however many eons, there is no love. There is only hatred and darkness. Is that what you wish to believe? You don't wish to believe it, but so many of you get caught there. Just coming back and remembering, I am love. And I promise you, I am with you. I will never abandon you. You can never lose me. But you have free will and you can go as far afield as you wish until you're ready to say, okay, I've looked far enough into the heart of darkness. I'm ready to come back and remember that I am love and to co-create. This is the vital step. Not just to remember you are love, but to remember that this knowing is the essence of your power. To know I am love. And I can co-create the world that we all envision together. We, all of us, as love. I'm speaking to Aaron. Give me a minute. Aaron is going to come back into the body and see if there are questions. I'm going to release the body to Barbara, then give you a few minutes break, and then Aaron will answer questions. Maybe I will, but probably Aaron. I'm asking Aaron what to push here on the recorder. It says pause, but I cannot read, Aaron. Where is pause? On the bottom, under the dancing green line, there are 5 letters in red. Press it. Oh, it stopped. Okay. I'm going to learn to read English. I'm going to release the body to Barbara. Okay, this is Barbara. I'm just coming back into the body, but without holding hands like I normally do. And just your offering energy toward me will help me to resettle into my body. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, love. Aaron is asking me, am I okay? Yes, I'm fine. So I gather Love Incorporated. Okay, I need a couple of minutes here to get back into my body, and then we'll see where we're going from here. As long as I have the energy to do it, I think that we'll bring Aaron back and not Love. It's a much higher energy. Aaron can answer questions, or I can answer questions. Okay, this is Barbara, and I'm speaking here with a sense of curiosity. As I said at the beginning, this is completely an experiment. How was it? You could feel Love's energy. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So it came through. And those who are familiar with this, could you feel the distinction between Love and Aaron? Okay. And was the voice clear and able to be heard well? Voice was clear. Is the picture clear? That's interesting. Mimi says the energy was more present than when in the room. Okay, so is this a useful experiment? It's very easy. Nobody has to come here and set up a camera. I'm just sitting here in front of my computer. Useful to continue this as an experiment. I don't mean we'll never have it live. We'll have people live in the future, as long as there's not a blizzard. But it's okay to do it this way. Yes. It would be better for me if I had at least 1 or 2 people in the room who could help support the energy. But there are a number of you with a lot of experience here who I could feel have been sending energy this way. I can feel the support of your energy, and you're knowledgeable people who are knowledgeable mediums able to help support energy. So I think if it was a completely new group, I couldn't do it. But with an experienced group, yes, I can do it. Any questions about what Love said, what Aaron said, or anything else? I have a question. Anybody in Michigan know how much snow we're supposed to get? They just plowed my driveway, and I can see from my back deck that it's probably another 2 inches since they plowed it. 3 to 8 inches more or total. I'm not sure what the term shadow work means. What the term shadow work means. I have my own impression of what it means, and this is not it. For me, the term shadow work means looking at the shadow in oneself. So I suppose this is part of that, looking at the shadow in oneself. But what we're looking at more is the whole illusion of shadow and not getting caught up in creating some kind of a ultimate reality out of that shadow, but really knowing it to be illusion. And this is where the Vipassana practice comes in, where we start to see objects arising and passing away, with asking ourselves, does it have any ultimate reality? Here is fear. Fear is arisen. Does it have any ultimate reality? That doesn't mean there's no fear. I have to be compassionate to myself with this experience of fear or anger or whatever it might be. I have to be compassionate about the present experience of fear or anger or grief or whatever in myself. Somebody else says, shadow work, facing your past and your trauma and moving into love. I see subtle differences. Aaron, do you want to speak to that? He is asking me to try because he says, my body, I am tired from holding that energy alone in the room. Aaron, it would be easier for you to just incorporate and speak. Okay. In many psychological venues, they do what is called shadow work. As was said, facing your past and your trauma and moving into love. Nina asks, is there some way some of us can help you hold the energy remotely on Zoom? Just the way love was sending energy out to you. Hold Barbara, not to me. My energy is fine. Hold Barbara's energy in your hearts. She is fine. She is in no danger, or I would not continue. This will not damage her. She will need a good night's sleep and some restoration of her energy, but she's fine. But just hold her in your hearts and send a loving energy. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara, and for this opportunity to hang out with Spirit. That's all. Continuing. Facing your past and your trauma and moving into love. There are 2 ways that are taught to face your past and your trauma. One is with a kind of a stoicism and determination. I will conquer that, which tends to give that trauma more energy. The second way is to face it by knowing it, that it has arisen out of conditions. It's impermanent. That while it has a relative reality, it has no ultimate reality, and then to begin to ask, right here with the trauma, where is love? Right here with the trauma, where is the open heart? Thus, there is no denial of the trauma, and this is vital. And there is no getting caught in the stories of the trauma, but seeing oneself move in that direction, one says, oh no, that's not where I'm going. Come back. But I honor the being that experienced trauma. I embrace that being. And I do not force that being anywhere. I allow that being as much time as he or she needs to, I speak carefully here, not to resolve the trauma. That gives the idea there's something to be fixed or resolved. I give that being as long as it needs to see through into the emptiness of the trauma. And that while it existed at one level, one can come back into the place that was never traumatized and rest there. So in this way, I would say this differs from a, quote, shadow work in the traditional sense. Let me read what is said here. From Celeste, rather than the yo-yo metaphor, I have been testing what it is like to look out of my eyes and know that love's awareness. I'm going to go to the larger screen to read it. This means that I am no longer looking at the camera. Forgive me. But I need to read over here on the monitor. What it's like to look out of my eyes and know that love's awareness is also looking out from them, knowing my experience. And so as I continue with life, love is learning too about it. I like doing this. I like the idea of expanding love into new areas so that love can expand. I want to ask Aaron, is this a useful thing for me to do rather than the yo-yo metaphor? Celeste, I think both are useful, but they are different. The yo-yo metaphor reminds you to stay connected to love, not that love and self are separate, but that they're always connected. What you are doing, love's awareness is also looking out of your eyes. You're creating a subtle duality between your awareness and love. For now, that's okay, but eventually you have to resolve that duality. So think about whether you really want to keep that duality going as a tool or whether it's time to release it now, and how else you can experience the possibility to help love expand itself without creating a duality. This is very clear thinking, very clear insight. Thank you for that question. Does love have to have an object? Was the original love light, in fact, a first separation from emptiness? The original love and light were not a first separation from emptiness. Love and emptiness are non-dual. But love, let me phrase this carefully. In the beginning, there was simply emptiness. That emptiness had I use the word distortion here, a distortion of love and positive polarity. When I use the word distortion there, I mean that it shifted from a featureless emptiness into the subtle distortion of light, love, high vibration. So in this way, it was the first separation from emptiness. And yet, if it did not already exist within the emptiness, it could not have expressed. Nothing can come from nothing. So it was already there, and what happened was that it somehow gained, from the emptiness, it gained the degree of self-awareness that said, I am, and chose to express itself. Does that answer it? Is that clear? Yes. Okay. Love said there are only two things, love and distortions of love. Can Aaron elaborate on this? Well, there is only love, really. But then the distortions have presented themselves with the idea of saying, hey, I'm separate. Look at me, I want power. When we know there is really only love, and these distortions of love, these expressions of love that tend off into the ego self, then one can look at them and say there's no ultimate reality there. These distortions lack any ultimate reality. Only love has ultimate reality. And yet the distortions still have relative reality and can do harm. Now we come to an interesting question. If you refuse to give those distortions any ultimate reality, if you refuse to give them power, in what way does that render them powerless? We'll come back to the beautiful teachings of Satyagraha, soul force, as seen in part by Gandhi, employed by Gandhi, by Martin Luther King, where one rests in the place of highest loving awareness, knowing I am love, and you are love, and refuses to allow the negativity in the other to express as any kind of ultimate reality. Yes, you can shoot me. That's some negative distortion within the consciousness, but the awareness that you are, the essence of you, cannot be distorted. And I choose to address only that essence. When a group of people hold that as their reality and are willing to face people even with guns, this is what led people to back down, because the group looking out was seeing love. It was seeing also the distortion that was expressing, but it was seeing the love and saying, I choose. The soul force in me chooses the soul force in you, which is love. And there we're completely non-dual. And it beings were putting down their guns and finding they could not shoot. This is the power of love, of non-dualistic love. I think we'll go just perhaps another 10 minutes, because there is a difference for Barbara carrying this energy alone. You're all helping. What you're doing is wonderful, but still, it's harder for her. So another 10 minutes and then we will give the body back to her. My blessings and love to you all. I am Aaron. I love you. And I find great joy. I'm looking at Mimi here, who was sat in our living room 30 years ago. Others of you have been part of this for a long time also. And then we opened the door and whoever came in the door came in, and now we open the electronic door and whoever wants to come in can come in. And I find this very beautiful. I would share with you, Barbara spent an hour this afternoon with great joy reading the Portuguese version of Human. Somebody has donated money, so Some of my books can be translated. The Portuguese version is finished. The Spanish version is being started. We started with Human because it's the shortest book. We'll move on to other books. But it was wonderful to me also to see my thoughts being translated into other languages. My desire here is to make these teachings as widely available as possible for all who can use them. In this way, we say no to negativity. No, you may not limit the outpouring of love. No. And we hold the co-creation in our hearts and invite it, and off it goes. Good night to you all. I love you. Good night. Hold out your hands as if you were holding my hands, so that Barbara may feel your energy as she comes back into the body. Thank you.